In a far-flung corner of the cosmos, deep within the council chambers of the Galactic Federation, the leaders of countless advanced civilizations gathered. They were not here for celebration or diplomacy this time. They had convened to discuss a matter that had taken on a new urgency, a potential threat emerging from a small, blue planet orbiting an unremarkable star, Earth. Seated around a massive, crystalline table that floated in the weightless atmosphere of the council chambers, the delegates, each representing a world or alliance of worlds, engaged in a heated discussion. Their forms were as diverse as the stars themselves. Some shimmered with radiant light, others had metallic shells, and a few even pulsed with the hues of gaseous plasma. Yet, all shared a common language of telepathic waves and empathic resonance, which now crackled with tension. The humans have made remarkable strides in recent decades, rumbled High Chancellor Orla, a being whose body was composed entirely of shifting light. Her words vibrated through the chamber. Their technology has progressed at an alarming rate, especially given the relatively brief span of their recorded history. Across the table, the representative from the planet Silaris, a species with minds intertwined in a shared consciousness, responded in overlapping tones. They have split the atom, harnessed fire from the stars, and now a faint hum of disapproval rippled through the chamber. They are even attempting to breach the boundaries of their own solar system. The question remains, should they be stopped? Whispers and waves of thought rippled through the assembly, echoing the weight of the question. The collective knowledge of the Galactic Federation held one undeniable truth: few species advance so rapidly without becoming a destabilizing force. There were ancient records of the Melather, a species that had achieved similar development, only to unleash war upon the Federation itself, plunging down scenes of star systems into ruin. Our scans indicate that their scientific curiosity is immense, murmured Darlon, the observer of the planet Faranox, his words punctuated by gentle pulses of empathy. Yet their temperament remains volatile. Their instincts still lean toward competition, war, and expansion. The council members knew well of the human inclination for violence and conquest. Earth's history was riddled with conflicts that erupted over resources, ideologies, and the strange desire for dominion. And now, with humans beginning to develop artificial intelligence and harness quantum technologies, they might soon possess the capabilities that could ripple through the galaxy either as allies or, more troublingly, as aggressors. But consider, interjected Velaya, an elder from the Core Ith Collective, her voice as soft as the bending of light. There is beauty in their diversity. Unlike many species who fall into uniformity, they remain a mosaic of cultures, languages, and thoughts. They could bring creativity to the galaxy, a rare commodity. Another ripple of discord passed through the assembly. The Galactic Federation was a bastion of order, knowledge, and peace, carefully maintained for eons. Creativity, as wondrous as it could be, often brought unpredictability. The Melather had once been creative, too, some leaders recalled, until their ideas turned destructive. We cannot ignore the potential of Earth's species, argued Chancellor Orla. Perhaps they could be cultivated, given guidance, so they may avoid the paths that lead to conflict with our worlds. A projection of Earth appeared above the center of the table, its swirling blue-green beauty, marred by the tiny scars of industry and pollution. The council watched scenes of human life flash before their skyscrapers reaching toward the sky, their satellites spinning out into the darkness, their people at work, at war, and at play. If we intervene, Darlon warned, we risk igniting their infamous suspicion. They are not yet ready to understand our presence, nor our intention. Their reaction may be hostile. Silence fell over the chamber as each delegate contemplated this. Then, a new voice spoke, it quiet, but full of gravity. I propose a third option, offered Naylor of the Zyth Alliance, an ancient, crystalline being whose every facet held reflections of countless worlds. Instead of outright interference or complete inaction, let us assign observers, carefully hidden among them, to assess their progress and to subtly steer them if necessary. If they are truly to become a danger, we will know well in advance. A murmur of agreement began to spread through the chamber. This proposal would allow the Galactic Federation to watch without immediate risk, to understand the humans better, and to perhaps guide their evolution without breaking their spirit. And so it was decided. A team of observers, disguised and embedded within Earth's own civilizations, would monitor humanity closely, watching as they stood on the brink of reaching for the stars. In time, they would learn whether this species, with all its contradictions and complexities, was destined to join the Federation as allies or if they would need to be contained for the safety of the galaxy. As the council adjourned, each delegate felt a strange mixture of hope and foreboding. Earth was, after all, unlike any world they had encountered before, and humanity was a mystery that might hold the key to the galaxy's future its undoing. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Months turned to years as the Galactic Federation's covert operatives settled into human societies across the planet. From bustling megacities to remote research outposts, these observers blended seamlessly, using advanced cloaking technology to disguise themselves. Some took on human appearances, embedding in institutions like universities, tech firms, and government agencies, while others monitored from afar, tapping into global communications and watching humanity's digital footprint expand. Agent Zerial, one of the Federation's most skilled operatives, had taken up residence in a major urban center. His human disguise was flawless dark hair, piercing eyes, a faint European accent carefully modeled after years of Earth study. Zerial had spent a lifetime observing civilizations, but he was genuinely fascinated by humanity's unique mixture of brilliance and contradiction. Every morning, Zerial walked among the humans, absorbing the energy and ambition radiating from every corner of the city. He marveled at how they adapted to challenges, their endless creativity, sometimes their reckless disregard for caution. It was during one of these routine observations that Zerial noticed something peculiar. While monitoring a late-night physics symposium at a prestigious university, he observed a young human scientist named Dr. Lena Caldwell presenting a breakthrough in quantum computing. Her work had enormous implications. It suggested a method of interstellar data transfer that, with the right adjustments, could breach even the Federation's most secure communication barriers. Zerial's internal alarm triggered. Such technology in human hands was a double-edged sword. Used peacefully, it could open humanity to interstellar knowledge, even allow communication with the Federation under the right circumstances. But if weaponized or misused, it could destabilize Earth's fragile societies and, worse, disrupt galactic order. Returning to his base that night, Zerial sent a detailed report to the Galactic Council's Intelligence Division. Within days, a directive arrived from the Council: continue observing Dr. Caldwell closely but take no direct action for now. But Zerial felt torn. Dr. Caldwell wasn't the only one on Earth racing toward these discoveries. Thousands of other scientists and corporations, motivated by curiosity or profit, were on similar paths, and even though Zerial had his orders, he sensed a storm brewing. Then came the first ripple. Zerial intercepted encrypted communication from an underground faction within Earth's military-industrial complex. They had somehow learned of Dr. Caldwell's research and planned to acquire it by any means necessary. They saw her work as an opportunity for unprecedented military power, something that could keep Earth safe against potential extraterrestrial threats, a notion they entertained, despite lacking any concrete knowledge of extraterrestrial life. A surge of unease coursed through Zerial. He realized that waiting might no longer be an option. Humanity's aggressive instincts were starting to clash with its technological advancements, creating a precarious and potentially explosive situation. The Council, however, was firm. You are not to interface unless absolutely necessary, they repeated in their latest directive. Zerial wondered if they truly understood how complex humans were. These weren't rational, predictable beings like those in other species he had observed. They were ambitious, impulsive, and most dangerously, they thrived on conflict. One evening, as Zerial watched from afar, he saw Dr. Caldwell being followed. The shadows of men in dark suits closed in around her, clearly intending to coerce or abduct her for her research. Zerial hesitated, feeling the weight of his orders and the possible consequences if he defied them. But as he watched Lena Caldwell quicken her pace, glancing nervously over her shoulder, Zerial knew he could not stand idle. With a surge of resolve, he acted, using an advanced cloaking field to shield them both as he whisked her away from danger. In a quiet alley, he finally revealed himself, explaining that it was from a distant federation and that her work had garnered the attention of more than just her peers. Why would they care about us? She asked, still trying to process the fact that extraterrestrial life was standing right before her. Because you are more significant than you realize, Zariel replied, and also more dangerous. Over the following days, Zariel and Dr. Caldwell formed an unlikely alliance. She was cautious yet intrigued by his warnings, realizing the gravity of her research and the potential consequences if it fell into the wrong hands. Together, they began to develop a plan to safeguard her work, coding it with layered encryptions and misleading paths, while filtering out the pieces that would make it less susceptible to misuse. But Zariel knew that this temporary measure wasn't enough. Humanity was awakening to new knowledge, and it wouldn't be long before others made the same discoveries. He sent a new plea to the Council, arguing that Earth was at a pivotal moment, one that might require the Federation's influence. Days later, the Council's response arrived, but it was not what Zariel had hoped. Humanity's path is their own to choose. We will observe but not intervene. If they threaten the stability of the galaxy, containment measures will be implemented. Zariel felt a chill. Containment measures meant that the Council would enact a protocol that could forever limit Earth's reach, trapping humans within their solar system and quelling any chance of interstellar travel or influence. Determined to give Earth a fighting chance, Zariel knew he had to trust in Dr. Caldwell and the potential for humans to rise beyond their baser instincts. He encouraged her to gather like-minded thinkers, scientists who understood that their advancements came with responsibility. Together, they began a quiet coalition, a movement of scientists and philosophers dedicated to ensuring that Earth's technological leaps would be guided by wisdom and caution. As weeks turned into months, Zariel watched Earth's scientific community from within, guiding where he could, a subtle protector to this vulnerable yet potent species.
Months passed, and the secret coalition that Dr. Caldwell and Zariel had founded grew stronger. Scientists, thinkers, and even a few government insiders joined their ranks, each one carefully selected and sworn to protect humanity's future. This underground alliance became known as the Guardians of the Horizon, a group dedicated to guiding Earth's advancements responsibly while protecting against the misuse of dangerous knowledge. Zariel continued his role as a mentor and advisor, relaying subtle wisdom from the Federation while never revealing the full extent of its power. His words to Dr. Caldwell and the others became something of a quiet credo: knowledge must be tempered by understanding, or it becomes a force of chaos. But as the Guardians worked in secrecy, other forces took notice. Zariel's intervention in rescuing Dr. Caldwell had not gone entirely unnoticed. Despite his advanced cloaking methods, Earth's most powerful intelligence agencies had begun to catch on to whispers of a shadow organization, a group allegedly working to control the flow of scientific discoveries, particularly those with military or cosmic implications. These agencies, seeing themselves as the guardians of national security, grew increasingly determined to unmask this mysterious faction and assert control. Soon, a coordinated operation was launched to expose and dismantle the Guardians of the Horizon. Agents were deployed, advanced surveillance technology was engaged, and even covert raids were attempted. Dr. Caldwell and her colleagues quickly realized the extent of the threat. They now faced not only the challenge of protecting knowledge but also of staying hidden from those who saw them as a threat to national sovereignty. Tensions reached a breaking point when Zariel intercepted a coded transmission from Earth's security forces. They had learned of a gathering the Guardians had planned in an underground facility, a meeting critical to their continued work and to safeguarding Earth's most sensitive technologies. In just a few hours, elite teams would converge on the location. Zariel knew he had to act quickly. He contacted Dr. Caldwell and the other leaders of the Guardians, warning them of the imminent danger. But Dr. Caldwell, her resolve strengthened by months of working alongside Zariel, refused to abandon the cause. If we run now, it's over. The Guardians will scatter, and the knowledge we've tried to protect will be lost or worse, used against us. Zariel felt the weight of his decisions pressing down. He could flee with them, abandon Earth, and report back to the Federation, but he knew that to the Council, Earth was still on probation, teetering on the edge of containment, and containment would mean the end of humanity's cosmic aspirations. After a moment's hesitation, Zariel made his decision. With a quick flick of his wrist, He activated a Federation protocol that flooded the underground facility with a cloaking field, masking everyone's movements from Earth's tracking systems. In the split second before the field engaged, Zariel sent a message to his council liaison. For Earth's future, I am breaking protocol. Zariel and the Guardians gathered in the heart of the cloaked facility as Earth's security teams combed the grounds above, their sensors rendered useless by Federation technology. Zariel's voice was steady as he addressed the Guardians. We can no longer hide forever, but we can guide humanity from within. The Council may see Earth as a potential threat, but they have also given me a choice to intervene or to contain. I have chosen to trust you. Dr. Caldwell stepped forward, looking around at her colleagues with a mixture of pride and determination. Humanity's future depends on all of us now. We may have started as a secret group, but if we want our knowledge to do good, we'll need to reach out, to educate, and to protect what we create. It's time for the Guardians to step into the light. Over the following weeks, the Guardians emerged from the shadows. They became an open organization of scientists and philosophers, advocating for responsible technological development and establishing ethics councils to regulate dangerous discoveries. Their influence began to spread, drawing in more supporters, leaders, innovators, and everyday citizens who believed in the need for caution and wisdom in an era of rapid advancement. Zariel, meanwhile, knew his decision had consequences. Word from the Federation Council finally arrived. He would be recalled, and his position as an operative would be terminated. But before his return, the Council granted him one final task. He was to oversee the transition of the Guardians into a legitimate and transparent force, respected enough to steer humanity toward a peaceful future. Dr. Caldwell and Zariel shared a quiet moment on the roof of the Guardians' new headquarters before he was set to leave. She looked up at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and a hint of sadness. Will you come back? She asked. Zariel hesitated. I don't know. The Council may decide that humanity is a risk too great to leave unchecked, but as long as you keep building what we started, they'll see what I see as species capable of both ambition and wisdom. As Zariel departed, he felt the bittersweet pang of a mission completed yet unfinished. He had given Earth a chance, a delicate one that would depend on humanity's ability to balance power with responsibility. He only hoped that, someday, humanity would prove his choice right. Years later, as humanity reached out into the cosmos with caution and resolve, whispers of a distant Federation reached their ears, a Federation waiting, watching, and perhaps, one day, welcoming Earth with open arms.
As Zariel returned to the Federation, Earth's Guardians of the Horizon grew into a respected organization, guiding humanity's advances with responsibility and restraint. But back in the council chambers of the Galactic Federation, Zariel's actions were met with a mix of admiration and concern. High Chancellor Orla, her shimmering form flickering with intensity, addressed the gathered delegates. Agent Zariel's intervention defied our protocols. He has shifted the course of an entire species. The question now is whether this change will benefit the galaxy or bring new dangers. The debate was fierce. Some saw Zariel's choice as an act of compassion and insight, granting Earth a chance to join the cosmic community as allies. Others viewed it as reckless interference, fearing that humanity's volatile nature could one day disrupt the galaxy's carefully maintained peace. But Zariel, standing before the council, was resolute. Earth is unlike any species we have known, he said. Their diversity, their resilience, these are traits that should not be stifled but encouraged. With guidance, I believe they can become a force for good. The council deliberated, and after days of intense discussion, they made a historic decision. They would continue observing Earth with a more cautious eye, but they would also provide subtle aid. If humanity continued to advance responsibly, they might be given the opportunity to enter the Federation. However, the Council also imposed a condition on Zariel. He was to be Earth's permanent observer, stationed on a nearby outpost. It was a mixed blessing. Zariel would remain close enough to influence humanity if necessary, but he would not be allowed to directly engage with Earth unless they posed an imminent threat to galactic order. As Zariel adjusted to his new life on the distant observation post, the Guardians on Earth flourished. Dr. Caldwell, now a seasoned leader, became a renowned figure across nations, uniting scientists, ethicists, and leaders under a shared vision. Through her efforts, humanity began to form coalitions with one another, striving to uphold the principles Zariel had instilled in the Guardians. balance, caution, and compassion. For a time, it seemed Earth would continue along this careful path, but trouble stirred once more. One evening, Zerial received a coded message from the Council. His heart sank as he read the contents. Rogue factions on Earth had obtained blueprints for an advanced weapon, something with the potential to destroy entire cities in the blink of an eye, and they were preparing to deploy it against rival nations, breaking the fragile peace that the Guardians had worked so hard to maintain. Zerial faced an agonizing choice. His orders were clear. He was not to intervene directly. He was to observe, report, and leave Earth to face the consequences of its own actions. But he knew that the Council was watching closely, ready to implement containment protocols if humanity proved to be a genuine threat. Determined not to let Earth fall into chaos, Zerial decided on a risky course of action. He secretly contacted Dr. Caldwell and provided her with subtle guidance a way to disrupt the rogue faction's plans without drawing attention to the Guardians. He knew the Council would notice his interference, but he couldn't stand by and watch humanity unravel. Dr. Caldwell and the Guardians mobilized quickly, using their connections and influence to expose the faction's plans to the world. With a combination of strategic leaks and diplomatic pressure, they averted the immediate threat, dismantling the weapon before it could be deployed. But Zerial's breach of protocol could not go unnoticed. The Council summoned him back for a formal hearing. His unauthorized intervention, they argued, was a direct violation of the Federation's principles. Chancellor Orla addressed him, her voice heavy with disappointment. Zerial, your compassion has clouded your judgment. You have intervened not once, but twice, against our orders. The Council cannot ignore such actions. Zerial, standing in the center of the vast chamber, felt the weight of their scrutiny. I understand the risk, he replied, but Earth is still young. They are on the edge of something incredibly, either greatness or ruin. We cannot judge them for stumbling as they learn to walk. After intense deliberation, the Council came to a decision. Zerial would be allowed to keep his role as Earth's observer, but it would be placed under strict surveillance. Any further breach of protocol would result in permanent reassignment and a possible end to Earth's chance at Federation inclusion. Returning to his observation post, Zerial felt a renewed sense of urgency. He knew that humanity had been given precious few chances, and he was determined to make every one count. He resumed his watch, hoping that the Guardians of the Horizon would continue to protect Earth from within and guide its progress. Over the following years, humanity continued to advance, learning from its mistakes and growing closer to a united planet. Zerial watched with a mix of pride and trepidation as Earth's nations formed alliances, dedicating themselves to peaceful exploration and scientific discovery. The Guardians of the Horizon, now an official international body, championed the responsible use of new technologies and safeguarded knowledge that could lead to catastrophic consequences. Eventually, the day arrived that Zerial had dreamed of. The Federation Council announced that Earth would be given an invitation to a preliminary exchange, a test of trust. Representatives from Earth would be allowed to meet with members of the Galactic Federation, glimpsing the cosmic community they might one day join. Dr. Caldwell, chosen as one of Earth's representatives, stood beside Zerial on the observation post as the day approached. She looked out at the stars, a sense of wonder in her eyes. Thank you, she said softly, for believing in us, even when it wasn't easy. Zerial nodded, his gaze fixed on the distant glow of Earth. Humanity has always been worth believing in, he replied. Your strength, your resilience, those qualities are rare. I only hope the galaxy is ready for what you'll bring. As Earth's representatives prepared to take their first steps into the galactic stage, Zerial felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had stood with humanity through its trials, and now he would stand with them as they reached for the stars.